Hello again, I'm Robert Fithen, and this weekend is Mother's Day. It will be the first Mother's Day for me since my mother passed away last year, so I thought I'd do a video talking about some of the musical things my mother brought into my life, like records, and also some of her musical tastes. Now, my mother was 41 years old when I was born, and so my parents were already married to each other and full adults by the time the rock and roll era began. So they were not all about rock and roll and rock music and stuff like that. To my parents, the Beatles and Elvis and Kiss were all, pretty much all of it. The Bee Gees, they were all the same thing. They were just loud, obnoxious music that they were not into at all. But my mom knew what I liked and knew that I'd seen Kiss on TV and wanted Kiss, so she was the one, I'd shown these before, that bought me my first Kiss things, which was the 8 tracks to double platinum, and she got me she bought them at the, they come together, but she gave me volume 2 first and would not give me volume 1 until report cards came in, and I had to get my grades up before I got volume 1 of this. So the first thing I ever experienced was the second 8 track of Kiss Double Platinum. I did a whole video on this if you want to watch that, where I actually have Super 8 footage of me getting the actual album for Christmas, the record in record form. I have a playlist of these because the 8 tracks are actually in different running order. Deuce and Strutter aren't even on the same 8 track, so they're all the songs are completely different orders. So if you want to check that out or that video, you can do that. But yeah, I owe it to my mother getting me my first Kiss. My mom, walked into the room while I was playing this album. One time. This is the first pressing of this. I was lucky enough to grow up with this. This is the one without kissing time. So I didn't even know what that song was until much later on. But she walked in and heard this song play, and she's like, now that one's not too bad. I actually could like this song. This one's not that bad. And the song that was playing was Love Theme from Kiss. So yeah, there did exist someone whose favorite Kiss song was probably Love Theme from Kiss, just so you're wondering. My mom bought me my second Beatles album, which was volume 2 of this. The first one came courtesy of my middle sister, who bought me volume 1 for Easter. She got me volume 2 because, it's $4.95, a capital value at Kmart. Almost didn't get it for me, though, because this has Helter Skelter on it. Now, I said my mother didn't know very much about the Beatles, but she did know 2 things. She knew that they did a song called Helter Skelter that was going to turn everybody into serial killers, like, Charles Manson killers or whatever. And she also knew that they had a song called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds that means LSD. No matter what it really meant or anything about a painting, no. She knew that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds means LSD, and if your child has this, they're going to start doing acid. Which, well, anyway. So this was one of the last of the original studio albums I ever got from the Beatles, was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, because it has Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I definitely had this one first. This is the second pressing mono copy of the American Rubber Soul album. My mom got me this at a rummage sale, and that's where a lot of my early records, like I had 3 different big collections of 45s I grew up with when I was a real little kid that I would play on like a close-in play or whatever. A lot of those, they were always coming from garage sales. You'd buy a whole box of them for like whatever, and that's where those came from. But later on, when I was like, 9 or 10, sometimes I'd go to rummage sales with my mom, sometimes I didn't. And this time I didn't, but she found this. I think she asked if there were any Beatles records in there. She knew I wanted Beatles records, and the woman said, yeah, there's a couple. And this was one of them. I think it was probably 25 cents or something like that. It actually says the Beatles on the back. That's probably how she knew. And she got me another record there as well from the Beatles, but that one had this real ripped up cover on it, and she's like, you can just have that one for free. So my mom took that one, even though the cover was all beat up and everything. Got it home, and I pulled the record out, and it was a Tom Jones record. It wasn't even the Beatles record in that one, so I ended up throwing it away because I got this record from the Beatles. And this record had the picture on the inside that the record I threw away had, because the cover was all torn up. Yes, when I was 10 years old, I threw away a Butcher cover Yesterday and Today Beatles album cover. Just threw it away. Had no idea what it was. There's no internet then, or no way to look this stuff up. I guess I could have gone to I did go to a library at one point later on, and got the Beatles illustrated record. That was a big book that was out this time, but yeah. Figured, hey, I've got a pristine-looking, copy of that photo. I don't need that beat-up album cover. Threw it away. I don't know how much that would be worth these days. You know, because I said it was all tattered and everything. I'm assuming what it was is the third state thing where somebody had the trunk cover and tried to peel it off or whatever, but just threw that away. So that's why I don't throw away a lot of records. When you start off by throwing away a Beatles Butcher sleeve, it kind of makes you a little hesitant to throw away other stuff. There was, of course, this album that my brother had on 8-track. This is the first hard rock album I ever heard. This was before I ever heard Led Zeppelin, before I ever heard AC/DC, any of that stuff. Heard this, son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a bitch, over, son of a bitch, son of a bitch, turn that off. Why do I want to hear that? Had to turn off the Nazareth because it says son of a bitch over and over again, even though my mother said son of a bitch all the time. And you're going to freeze your ass off, and bullshit, that's bullshit. Piss on this. My mother did not mince words. She spoke very plainly. You always knew where she stood with everybody. You knew who she liked, who she didn't like, what she liked, she was very, very direct in the way she would talk, and profanity was a part of that. Now, she didn't use fuck a lot. She would say F, instead. Like, whenever I hear Effingham, I don't think of the town that's in central southern Illinois. I think of Thanksgiving growing up whenever I hear Effingham. But yeah, son of a bitch, son of a bitch. Speaking of profanity, after I got a few studio albums, she found this at a garage sale and brought it home. This is Plastic Ono Band. I might have told this story before. She found this one. This is Plastic Ono Band, John Lennon's first solo album. There he is as a child on the back. I've got another copy of this. That's in better condition, but I'll always keep this one because this is the one my mother found for me at a garage sale. Again, walked in on me hearing it, and guess what song is playing? Yes, Working Class Hero. Heard him say those lyrics about you're so fucking crazy, they don't understand, you can't follow their rules or whatever. Not only, got upset, told me to turn it off, took the record away from me and said she was going to sell it in our next yard sale. In fact, this is her writing. I don't know if you can see that. She actually wrote the word adult on it. So when she sold it in the yard sale, they would know that this is an adult record with some awful language on it. Again, language that I've heard in my house all the time growing up. But, so it stayed in her room. And after a few months, I think this is probably later in the fall or something or whatever, but so I ended up just taking it out of her room and putting it back in my record collection. She obviously forgot all about it, and that's why I still have it to this day. Plastic Ono Band with adult written in my mother's handwriting in the upper right-hand corner. So she was always getting me what I wanted as far as records and tapes and whatever for Christmas and birthdays. That was pretty much, unless it was a yard sale 25-cent or 10-cent find, that was the only time I got new stuff later on in life was Christmas and birthdays, except for the one time I was sick. My mother asked me, okay, what I'm going to go to the store. What do you want? You want 7-Up, or is it bad enough? Do you want Pepto-Bismol or what? I want what I saw at the record store. They have a used, because the record store was in a strip mall that was 2 stores down from the grocery store, which here was a local chain called Schnucks. I want the Rolling Stones used copy of It's Only Rock and Roll for $3.99. I think I was probably in the 9th grade when this happened. And she did it for the first time ever. She went into a record store by herself. Any other time it would have been me going in there, or maybe she was with me or would drop me off and go to the grocery store where I would walk that way. She went in by herself, and to make me feel better, didn't get 7-Up or Pepto-Bismol, got me the $3.99 used copy of the Rolling Stones, It's Only Rock and Roll. And I still have the inner sleeve, which you really should get a polyline sleeve to put this in, since it's one of those cardboard sleeves, but I could never do that. I always want to keep this as it was. Still is my only copy of this on vinyl. I may have it on CD, but this is still my vinyl copy of this. Rolling Stones, It's Only Rock and Roll for $3.99, and it did actually make me feel better. Probably better than 7-Up or some sort of aspirin or whatever. She also got me, I had this one Christmas where I got like 3 or 4 Rolling Stones CDs, and that was what I got. I didn't get very much else. And got the Beggars Banquet CD that my mom got me. I still have that as well. Just recently got this Record Store Day one, which of course has this swirling mass of gray and black and blue and white, like in the Salt of the Earth song. But I'll always keep my CD copy of that because the woo-woos in Sympathy for the Devil are louder on the original CD from the 80s the remastered CD and the albums, the new vinyl, they turned down the woo-woos. The woo-woos are louder on this than the 2002 CD, but they're still not as loud as the 1986 CD. And this wonderful poster comes with the Record Store Day 2023 copy of Beggars Banquet as well. Now, as far as my mother's music goes, like I said, she grew up way before the rock and roll era. And she always liked, she liked novelty songs a lot. She liked... she would go around the house singing songs. People in my family were not really musically inclined. Nobody in my family besides me played a musical instrument. I had my youngest sister, who's still older than me. I think she squawked around on a violin for a couple of months and gave that up. That was about it. Nobody else really played a musical instrument. Nobody walked around singing. Nobody had like a huge record collection they were dedicated to like I did. I was the music person and still am in the family. But my mother would go around singing a lot, loudly, in the morning. If my mother was awake, everybody was awake. And she really liked novelty songs. She liked things like this song called Bingo Bango Bongo, I don't want to leave the jungle. No, 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 no. Bingo Bango Bongo, I want to stay in the Congo. Whoa, whoa. It basically, if you've never heard the song, which I doubt you have, it was basically an early version of the Kinks' Ape Man. So imagine Ape Man as some sort of 50s song or 40s song called Civilization was the name of the song. She'd go around singing things like that. She really liked the novelty songs. Some of her favorites were Roy Clark, Thank God and Greyhound, You're Gone. A song all about how, this woman mistreated the guy and he just squandered all of his money and treated him like dirt, and now she's finally leaving him, and thank God, and she is on that bus and gone, and wow, that bus looks beautiful rolling off into the distance with her. Can't stand that woman. My mother liked songs like that, where somebody was telling somebody off, or funny novelty songs like, I had a little doggy, named him Rover, had him ever since he was a pup. He would stand up on his hind legs if you held his front ones up. Songs like that, very, very harsh songs too, like, slap her down again, Pa, slap her down again. She came in, we don't know where she's been. She'll tell us if you slap her down again. We don't want the neighbors talking about our kin, so slap her down again. I don't know what song that was. You have to understand, my mother grew up in the 30s and in Upper Peninsula of Michigan. She had a pretty harsh childhood, and so any songs about slapping your daughter around or... those were fine. Can you imagine a song like that coming out now? I think it was from the perspective of the mother telling the father to slap the daughter around and get the truth out of her about where she was all night. So yeah, can you imagine like that? Hey, the new top hit from Ariana Grande, slap her down again, Pa, on Hot Hits 105. I can't really picture that happening. But she did like more contemporary kind of novelty songs too. One that brought the whole family together. I still remember all of us going out to get the 45 at Kmart. I'm going to hire a wino to decorate our home from David Frizzell. Now, my mother and father didn't have any kind of drinking problems or anything like that. But she loved the song, I'm going to hire a wino to decorate our home for whatever reason. All the fun stuff, funny stuff. She was a funny person. People say that I got a lot of my sense of humor from my mother. But she was, like I said, she was very direct speaking. She didn't mince words. She was she really fought for people that she loved, people in her life she would fight tooth and nail for, but she had a great sense of humor, but she was also very loving and very caring. She was very generous. She did things for people. She did things for her friends and neighbors and whatever, and was always just more than willing to help, take time off anything to help anybody. She worked at a school for the disabled and did that well after her retirement age, just kept working there because she just always had to be helping people. I got my mother's sense of humor, I'm told. I did not get the helping people thing. I think that went to other members of my family. So we all got a little something. I did not get the helping people part. But she also liked this wild song. I don't know, it was by the Wilburn Brothers or something. It was some old song from, you know how in the olden days that songs would just travel around, like the Appalachian songs would just go all over the Appalachia and just travel around, song catcher type. Well, she was from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, like I said, so her songs were always harsh. She had this song she would always talk about called Knoxville Girl, where it's one of those songs where somebody kills their lover down by the river, like Neil Young's Down by the River. I don't know how many songs some lover is getting killed down by the river. There's this one. There's Banks of the Ohio from Olivia Newton-John getting killed down by the river. Later in the 90s, it was like, Seven Mary 3, Water's Edge. Richard Marx had Hazard, somebody getting, I swear I didn't kill her by the river. All these songs, which by the way, if my name was Dick Marks, I would also go by Richard. But yeah, Richard Marx had a song like that. There's countless songs like that. None of them compare to this one though. This is called Knoxville Girl, and not only did he kill the girl, just for fun apparently, down by the river, then he picked her up by the hair and swung her around. Delivered the fatal blow with the knife and the blade, and then took her by the hair and whirled her around. It's like, what in the hell kind of song is this? She also liked normal songs. Like one of her favorites was from Charlie Pride, called Crystal Chandeliers, where, you think you're going to run off and be high class and highfalutin and leave me behind, and your new life with your crystal chandeliers and the classy crowd you're with, but they're going to turn their back on you and you're going to come back. That type of thing. She really liked Patsy Cline. Here's the Patsy Cline story. Finally got the first pressing that I wanted, thanks to trying again on the internet with the booklet and everything. There's another one. I told that story one time about getting, how you want the specific pressing that you want. And then I get it from Discogs. And it's like a 1980s Columbia House pressing. Not even a gatefold. Totally different, like, set up with the title and everything. Person didn't even look and went, oh, well, whatevs, when I sent him a message. Anyway, she really liked Patsy Cline. A lot of moms like Patsy Cline, I think. But her favorite male singer was Frankie Lane, believe it or not. Frankie Lane was a crooner. He did a lot of love songs like Jezebel, he had a song called Jezebel. I've always loved the word Jezebel. But yeah, he was a crooner, wore suits, did the love songs back in the 40s and 50s. But most people just hear the name Frankie Lane, and if they think of any song at all, they think of Rawhide. This is a little uncharacteristic for him. He's not really a country singer. He just really did the Rawhide theme as kind of a one-off thing. But yeah, write him in, Rawhide! That wrote him, cut him out, write him in, whatever he says. Anyway, Rawhide. Not her favorite Frankie Lane song at all. So I just wanted to take some time and pay a tribute to my mother. She was always really incredible to me. I always felt very fortunate to have her as a mother, especially when I got older and heard some stories about other people's moms and was like, damn, really glad I had the mom I had. And fortunately enough, I was able to actually tell her about how I thought she was my hero, and I, thought she was really a wonderful mom and all that. She, had the Alzheimer's and dementia later on in life and went through that for 4 or 5 years. And so right before that, I saw that coming and was able to just sit down and really tell her all of that. She was just a wonderful person. I had the honor of doing her eulogy at her funeral and talked all about her wonderful. I'm not going to talk about all that now because this is all about the music. I'm not going to bore you with that. I probably bored you already. But I had the honor of that. I put together her memorial video with music. And imagine trying to put somebody's music together. I didn't like to do cliched things. I don't want to just put the Footprints poem up and the angel's going to take another heaven and all that. I wanted to do something specifically for her favorite songs. But imagine doing a funeral thing and, their favorite songs are things like Thank God and Greyhound, She's Gone, and Twirling Around a Dead Girl by the Hair, and I'm going to hire a wino to decorate our homes. Those songs did not make the cut and just ended up doing things like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. But I just want to do this tribute video to her. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you're watching all the way up to this point. I don't expect this video to get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. This is just something I wanted to share with people who care about one of the greatest people on earth, I thought, which was my mother, who passed away last year. And hopefully everybody has a happy Mother's Day. And if your mom is still around, you'll be able to spend some time with her if she's a big important person in your life, which I hope that everybody has a great mom like I had. I'm fortunate enough for that. And rest in peace, Audrey Fithen, and thank you again so much for watching.